I'm doing the 5th and 6th articles of faith together today, as they both relate to the same topic I wanted to discuss. They read, "We believe that a man must be called of God by prophecy, by the laying of hands, by those who are in authority to preach the gospel and administer in the ordinances thereof." And number 6 reads, "We believe in the same organization that existed in the primitive church, namely apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists, and so forth." Some of these things are things that Christians agree with. For instance, the existence of different positions in the church, which is why we have pastors and teachers. However, we disagree with things like the need for a specific office of prophet today, as we believe that to be a spiritual gift, and that, according to Luke 16:16, the position as an office is no longer needed as it was in the Old Testament. What it really boils down to is authority, which Mormons get through their priesthood. The Mormon Church claims to have a restored and full priesthood. If that is so, we should expect it to find that the Mormon priesthood at least compares well to the priesthood recorded in the Bible, for it to have been restored from the biblical priesthood. But in the biblical priesthood, the Aaronic or Levitical priesthood was for male descendants of the tribe of Levi, at least 25 years old. They served for life. Their job was to perform the sacrifices and offerings of the Old Testament for forgiveness of sins for the people, and to care for the tabernacle and later the temple. They made their living off of this. There was only one high priest who was a direct descendant of Aaron, and his job was to perform the annual sacrifice on the Day of Atonement for the sins of the people. The priesthood was the connection and mediation between God and the people. When Jesus died for all sins, these sacrifices were no longer necessary, and he became the only and final high priest. The Melchizedek priesthood is recorded as only ever being held by two men in the Bible, which are Melchizedek, who was a foreshadowing of Jesus, and Jesus himself. Since Jesus lives forever, he is the only Melchizedek priest forever, according to Hebrews 7. All Spirit-filled believers are part of a royal and holy priesthood, which is held irregardless of age, gender, or responsibilities or position within the church. While there are different positions within the body of Christ, all believers hold the priesthood equally. We no longer need the mediation of a specific priesthood or priesthood holders, being Spirit-filled priesthood holders ourselves through Jesus and the Spirit dwelling within us. The Mormon priesthood, on the other hand, is hierarchical and male only. The Aaronic priesthood can be received by worthy young men at 12 years old, and the offices include deacon, teacher, and priest. They do things like bless and distribute the sacrament. The Melchizedek priesthood can be received in adulthood for any worthy male members after a minimum of 1 year of holding the Aaronic priesthood for adult converts. The Melchizedek priesthood is supposedly part of the higher law that was on the original stone tablets that Moses broke, although in Deuteronomy it specifically says that the second set of plates had the same thing written on them as the first set. The Mormon Melchizedek priesthood offices include elder, which in the Bible is supposed to be responsible heads of households, and I know many Mormon elders who are not responsible heads of households. Any missionary you meet, 19 years old, single, out on the street, living with, their companion, is an elder. Then there is bishop, which in the Bible is an interchangeable term for elder. The next is high priest. In the Old Testament, there is only ever one of these, and in Hebrews we are told this is now and forever Jesus, but the Mormon Church has many. Next is the 70, the title of which comes from when Jesus sent the 70 disciples to spread the gospel. In the Mormon Church, 70s are in charge of geographical areas of the church, and there are actually multiple quorums of 70s because of how large the church has grown over the world. Next is patriarch, which in the Bible are only the patriarchs in Genesis, but in the Mormon Church, patriarchs are responsible for giving patriarchal blessings, and there is one in every stake. Next is apostle. In the Mormon Church there are 15, the quorum of the 12, and the 3 members of the First Presidency. In the Bible, the office of apostle was only held by men who had witnessed Jesus' life and resurrection directly, or with Paul, a little more indirectly, but still involved. The word apostle can also mean messenger, but that is not the same as the office of apostle. Christians believe that the apostolic authority is contained for us in the Bible, such as in the epistles, and that since there are no longer witnesses to Jesus' life alive, there can be no more apostles in the biblical sense, the actual office of apostle. The authority exists in the canon of the New Testament, whereas the Mormon Church continues the authority in men who have never personally witnessed Jesus' life and resurrection, obviously, since they were not alive 2,000 years ago. Obviously, there is a huge difference between the so-called restored Mormon priesthood and their offices and what actually existed in the Bible. Thank you for watching.